Hey everybody, it's been a while. This is not a dev diary. This is just a sort of a little demo of what's going on right now with themes, which is a new feature that we put in recently that I'm actually pretty pumped about. Um, and I thought I would just go through the process of making one because it kind of demonstrates how I expect a lot of the experience will be like building things on Beaker. And it's just kind of at a fun spot because a lot of the tooling is starting to come together so I can actually show a lot more than I have been able to previously. So, all right, so in the Beaker browser, you have hyperdrives, which behave both sort of as files drives and websites, and you can create different types of them. So we have, just a blank files drive, website, module, and theme are the types that we're starting out with. And you can see whenever you are creating one of these things, you could pick a theme. And the idea with the theme is that it is the user interface for the hyperdrive. So it can vary from just like some custom CSS or maybe some JavaScript that gets automatically injected into the page, all the way to providing your entire user interface. Nice thing about a theme is that it is just another hyperdrive that's mounted to /theme within your target drive, which means that you can actually swap out the theme by mounting to other themes and not have to change anything about your original drive, which I think is actually pretty clutch for wanting to be able to have like a personal website where you can change the theme over time and not have to go through a lot of painful replacing of assets and things like that. So first I'm going to create a target site. It's the thing that we'll be theming. So my cool website. This is the drive that will be themed, and we're just going to leave it on none for the theme at the moment. And what we're seeing right here is the sort of default view of a drive that has no index.html. So this is like sort of automatically generated listing of files. And it's kind of minimal. If you wanted to get a full thing, you can go into the Hyperdrive Explorer and actually get like a full Files Explorer tool for working with a Hyperdrive. But this is like the web view of the drive when you access it directly. Okay, so that's our drive, and what we're going to do is create a theme for this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab and create a theme. And this will be my cool theme, and we'll use this on my cool website. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is every theme basically has three different files that will be used by Beaker: theme.css, theme.js, and I believe theme.html is what I ended up going with. So each of those get used differently. If you have a theme.css and a theme.js, those will automatically get injected on any markdown page or any HTML page. So that's kind of the minimal way of going at a theme. It's just a way to be able to get styles automatically without affecting any of the HTML output. But if you want to have more control over the HTML output, you can create a theme.html. And what that does is anytime any page is requested from a hyperdrive, that file will actually get served instead. Now, when I say page, I mean it's like whenever you browse to it, through content type negotiation, the browser will say, look, I'm looking for some HTML here. And that's when the theme.html will get served. If it's actually trying to load like a video or audio or something like that, the content type would let it know, okay, wait, they're looking actually for a different kind of asset, and theme.html won't get given. So interesting tidbit about that. So let's start by just getting a simple bit of custom CSS here. And we'll do an old-fashioned default sort of thing and make a background yellow. Now, if I refresh, it's not going to have any effect because we're not looking at an index.html or MD, so let's go ahead and create one real fast. So now our cool website has a front page, but we need to go ahead and set that theme. So I'm going to go to Hyperdrive, Drive Properties, go over to my themes, and select my cool theme, hit OK, refresh, and there we go. The theme has been applied, just like that. So now that'll apply again to any markdown or HTML that is on the site. And if I change this, let's change it up to be purple instead, and then refresh. There it goes, changes automatically. Now if we look at the file structure of the website we're looking at, it's just this theme folder right here that's a mount to my cool theme. And you can actually go in and explore it directly from here. That's all it is. It's just if that folder is present, then Beaker is going to automatically handle the theming information from there. So let's bring that back to yellow. And then let's get theme.js in here. And let's use that to just automatically append a new element every time, so we'll just do like var div equals document.create element div.text content equals hello world. And we'll append that, and now if I refresh, you'll see there the hello world, right? So that JS is getting run every time we get a little page, same with the CSS. So, okay, cool. Suppose we wanted to go a little bit further. Suppose we wanted this HTML theme to get involved. The way this operates is we go ahead and create a theme.html. And just to demonstrate, we'll do a real simple, this is theme.html. And there you see it just completely injected itself in and replaced what was happening by default. So now the interesting thing to do is create a theme.html which provides the kind of behavior you'd want for a website. You know, you want it to read the content of the page that you're looking at and display it correctly. And that's what we're going to get into. So first, let's make this a more correctly structured HTML document. And the theme.html does not get the theming files automatically injected, so we need to do that ourselves. So we'll do theme.js type module. And then we'll get the style sheet in there. And then we'll do a body. And let's go ahead and just get hello, so we know it's working. Okay, didn't get our theme.css or JS, so let's see what's going on there. Did it even try? I must have misdeclared the CSS. href instead of source. There we go. Okay. So, now's where the fun begins, because we're basically going to be creating an SPA to do the rendering of the website. And we're going to do this with web components. So, we're going to do, let's say, drive header, and then drive page. Those will be our two web components that we're going to define. And we'll create a JS folder, and we'll create, header.js and page.js. So let's define these web components here. Export class drive header. They should always extend the HTML element. Create a constructor called super. And just to get things going, we'll do text content equals header, so we know that it's on the page. We define the element, custom elements dot define drive header. And now that is defined, let's create our drive page element. And now inside of our theme.js, we just need to import both of these. So we'll do JS, header.js, and page.js. And when I reload, we see header and page are there. All right. So let's start with the header. Let's go ahead and do this.self equals new hyperdrive. This will just give us an instance for accessing the current page, and then we'll call a load function. And our load function will be async, and it's going to get the info about the drive using the getInfo function. And then we'll do a render call. And inside of here, we're going to create some elements. Now, I'm going to pause really fast and create a helper function for myself to create elements, because I'm using native JavaScript and using document.createElement and then setting attributes individually is a giant chore. So let's create another file real quick. This will be a utility file. Inside of here, I'm going to export a function called h, which takes in a tag, a set of attributes, and children. All right. Very simple function. It's going to create an element. It's going to iterate through the attributes and set them on the element, and it's going to treat CLS specially. So if k equals CLS, then we'll actually make that element.className is equal to attributes k. If the value is just true, let's get value in here real fast. Then we're just going to set it to an empty string. That's the way of doing Boolean attributes. Probably won't need that, but might as well. And then finally, let's set attribute k and value. Finally, we take a look through the children and append them directly to the elements. So actually, why don't we do children like this? Yeah, get that spread argument in there. Children, and we just do el.append child and return the element. All right, so pretty straightforward little templating function. Works pretty well. So let's import that in. And, one of the things I'm trying to do here is demonstrate what it's like to use just vanilla JS to create something like, a normal website with a theme inside of Beaker. It's not half bad. It's not totally brilliant. It would be really nice if this templating function were somehow already in the platform. But other than that, I found that between the web components, the ES modules, the CSS modules, it all is pretty fantastic. So we're going to set this h1 to this.info.title, and then we're going to this.append it. And one of the things that's really important about using templating like this is that these strings are going to get properly escaped. They're going to be effectively using text content. So if there's HTML in the title, it's not going to turn into a script injection, which is pretty important. You don't want to just go without inner HTML and setting values, because that's how you get owned. So let's see what's going on here. We're not seeing content, which tells me we got a bug. Attributes is not iterable. I think I did of, and I should have done in. Let's take a look. I did. That should be in. There we go. All right, so my cool website is automatically getting stuck onto the top. That's pretty nice. May not always want it. I mean, I'm doing this as sort of just to illustrate an approach, but, it's going to be a little bit weird whenever my actual pages have their own headers, so I don't really necessarily want to do that. But all right, let's get back to it. So let's go ahead and put in the bio as well, the description if it exists. So if this.info.description, we'll go ahead and add a paragraph with a class of description, and we'll give that, and we'll append that. And there we go. Now let's set some CSS on this thing. Let's get rid of our ugly CSS there. And we'll use our web components. We're not using the shadow DOM, so we can just style all this from the outside. And this is pretty fun, if you ask me. I'm going to set a border bottom on. It's nice to be able to just use custom tags. Using classes for forever. It's just kind of cool to be able to just do, drive header instead of dot drive header. And it's not a big deal, but I still like it. And that didn't work because you got to set display block on custom. By default, I think web components are just, I guess they're inline is what they are, which is funny, I guess. Don't know if I've ever wanted that to be the default. It may not be inline. I think somebody that knows better than me could probably tell the exact default declaration, but yeah. Let's set some margins here. And we'll get rid of the... Okay, 1em is too large. Let's take it down to like 5 pixels. Alrighty. And then, what are we going to do next? Don't really love Times New Roman, who does? So let's set a font family, and here Monaco is going to help us. Love this feature. The autocomplete is really quite good that we get from this editor. No complaints at all about that. Alright, a little bit nicer. Okay, so there's our header. Let's go ahead and get to the page content. So, same story. We're going to take a new hyperdrive instance so we can self-reference here. I'm going to call this .load. Now, do we need to do that? We do. Okay. Async load. And we're going to... I suppose the action here is we should look at where we're at and load the content appropriately. That's just probably what we got to do here. So we'll first start by getting a location instance, or a path name instance from the location. And then if path name that ends with a, well, why don't we stat the thing? So we'll do var stat equals this .self .stat path name, and we're gonna just let failure go to undefined in case it's 404. Now if stat that is directory, if we're looking at a directory, we'll do one thing. And then if it's a file, we'll do something else. And if stat does not exist, we'll do a 404. And for the 404, we'll just do this dot. Now, this time we can do an inner HTML. Okay, let's see here. Got a syntax error right around here somewhere. I don't see it. I love that when this happens. This should be in a wait one, but that's not the syntax error. Oh, right. Okay, there we go. So let's test that 404 real fast. Didn't work because stat is undefined, so we need to handle stat undefined first, of course. And let's try again. There we go, not found. Let's get some styling real fast on the drive page. It'll be basically the same, except not a border on it. All right, that's that. Let's go back to the root. Now, if it's a directory, I suppose the right behavior would be to first check if there's an index.html or an index.md, and if there is, handle that. Otherwise, we're going to do a directory listing, I think is the right action. So let's do that. Let's see. Index.md, index.html, wait, promise.all, and we will stat both of those. All right, if the HTML is defined, we will render that. We'll do an inner HTML on that because we trust our own code. So let's start with that. If index HTML, yeah, let's do let HTML equals this dot self dot. In fact, let's load it either way. Because I don't know which one was found. All right, path name plus index.html, and then we'll just do this dot inner HTML equals content. Else, if index.md is found, we'll do the same behavior, but we're going to need to render the markdown. Otherwise, we need to do a directory listing. Okay, just gave us an error. Can't iterate. Page 14. What did I do wrong? I need to make this an array. All right, so caught the markdown and then correctly put that in. Let's try real fast putting in an index.html, make sure that's working. Index.html should take preference based on how we just did things. There it does. We'll go ahead and delete that. Okay. So, we need to do markdown rendering. And basically I'm going to need a markdown rendering library, so I'm just going to import one that I have prepared. And where do I have that guy? I have it in one of my built-in themes, so I'm just going to grab it from there. And now I got to remember the syntax for this thing. Import markdown it from markdown it.js. That's empty equals markdown it. I think that's fine. And then we will do md.render. Fingers crossed. Worked. Excellent. All right. Now we got markdown rendering. I'm going to factor out both of the rendering of index.html and index.md because both of them are possibilities in other situations. So we're going to do render HTML path name, and we'll take this right here. This render HTML, and take this and do that. And then render markdown, it will be very similar. Except we add the and we take this and replace it. There we go. These both need to be async. All right. Now, let's jump over to the isFile situation and get the exact same behavior in there so that HTML and markdown from that are not the index will work correctly. So if if path name ends with .html, we will do return this.render HTML at the path name, and then else if path name ends with markdown, same story. Okay, and let's test that real fast. Foobar. And if I go there, it'll be not found, so let's make it. Actually, you know what would be nice? Is to add a button to create the file for us, but I'm not going to bother with that. All right, so foo-bar.md. There we go. All right, so now those are both working. Alright, so there's our index.html and index.markdown working, as well as other kinds. And let's also just make sure that our regular page.html is working. Yep, great. All right, so we also need to handle other kinds of files like images and what have you. So let's do it like this. Else if we'll use a regex. Period followed by, let's do images first. So PNG, JPEG, or GIF. At the end, .test path name. We'll do this.inner HTML equals image source equals path name. Actually, we should use our templating tool for that. Just for the heck of it. So we'll do this.append h image with source of path name. And let's test if that works. So I'm going to bring in a file, hopefully not show anything embarrassing in my Finder along the way. We'll do the robot. And if I view the file, there it goes. All right, so there's our file rendering. And like I said, the reason this works is that whenever that image asset is requested, the headers on the request say except for a well, it's not shown in stupid Electron, but the accept value is saying that it's looking for an image, and so Beaker knows to serve the image and not the template.html, so that's why that's able to work, which is very handy. Okay, so that's images. Similar process would happen with video and audio. I'm not going to bother with that. Instead, I'm just going to do a fallback for any other kind of thing, which is just going to treat it like text. And we'll do that like this. Under txt, we'll read the content and then append it using a pre. Pre, nothing there, and then content. And let's make sure that works. So we'll do a file, and that worked just fine. All right, the last task is to hit directory listings, so let's hit that. We'll do this render directory, and async render directory path name. So we'll do a read dir. Here, path name, and we're going to include the stat information on each of them so that we know what they are. Let's sort them. And then we'll go through each. And this append href entry.name. And let's see how that works for us. And we'll do that by creating a, let's see, I guess I could just go into the theme folder and see how it works. Okay, interesting. Anything in there? No. Why did that fail? Oh, I didn't give a text content to any of these. There it is. All right. To handle the, I guess we can just put each of them in a paragraph tag. So let's do that. Let p equals h. And I don't even need to do that because I can just do it like this. HP, no attributes, and there we go. All right. And it would be nice to have like an up thing, but I'm not going to bother with that. So here we go. Who needs to put an up thing when the browser's got it for you? So actually what I'm looking at inside of here is the mounted theme, because that's how mounts work. Right, so now we have a nice sort of template for our cool website where we can, you know, just write content, whatever the heck we want, and then we don't have to bother with doing any kind of script tags or link tags or any HTML structure. The templating and the layout and the aesthetics are being handled for us by the theme. And, you know, if we didn't want to do this anymore, I could just jump back into the properties and turn off the theme. And now we're back to the default behavior, which is index.md, so the markdown's getting rendered, but losing all of our themes. I think I have another one here that gives us some kind of silly yellow color. Let's see. Yep. And then there's a, yeah, so that's theming using Hyperdrive. And so, you know, see here we got pretty good editor tooling. The theming tooling is getting along pretty well. And I'm feeling pretty good about where this is headed. So I hope you found this interesting. Very, very, very close to starting our private beta on this guy. So look out for that. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.